How to play Texas Holdem style poker at a casino. When approaching a poker table at a casino, the first thing you must acknowledge is the table's limits and the blinds. At that point, you decide how much you want to buy in for. This is when you give the dealer your money, and in exchange, the dealer gives you your chips for the game. Your chips will be what you use to place your bets with during the game. Next, you need to take note of a few positions at the table. First is the person holding the dealer button. The dealer button is the most important aspect of the poker table to pay attention to. The dealer button dictates betting positions at the table, as in who is first to bet and who is last to bet. The person with the dealer button is always the person last to bet. After each hand, the dealer button rotates one player position to the left, moving in a clockwise circle. The next important position is the small blind. The small blind always sits to the left of the dealer button. After the flop, turn, and river, this person is the first to act, or make a decision on if they will raise the amount of the pot. The big blind sits to the left of the small blind, and sets the amount of chips that each player must put into the pot at the start of the game. This is typically determined by the table limits that are pre-decided for that table. From there, the small blind will be the only person to put in half of the amount of chips that the big blind placed into the pot. After the pot has been distinguished, the table dealer will begin passing out cards to each player. He will give each player 2 cards, one at a time, starting with the small blind and rotating clockwise around the table until each player, excluding the table dealer himself, has 2 cards. These 2 cards are considered the player's whole cards. After these cards are dealt, the first round of betting begins, starting with the person immediately to the left of the big blind. At this point, each player has the option to call, the big blind's bet, raise any amount they want, or fold, which means they forfeit that round. If at any point a player raises the amount, every person after them must call that amount to stay in the hand, thus raising the minimum. If a person raises the pot, other members now have the option to re-raise, forcing the bet higher, or fold. Once each player has had their turn, either betting the appropriate amount or choosing to fold, it is time for the flop. The flop is essentially 3 community cards that are turned face up by the table dealer in the middle of the table. Each player can use these 3 community cards in combination with their whole cards to create the best 5-card hand in an order to win. The best hand typically is the person with the highest 5 cards. After the flop, another round of betting begins, this time starting with the person in the small blind's position. At this point, there is no minimum amount to stay in the hand, and a player has the option to check, meaning to basically pass, or bet whatever amount they want, or fold. After everyone that is still in the hand has put the correct amount of money into the pot, the table dealer then flips over one more card face up in the middle of the table. This is considered the turn. Just like the flop, another round of betting follows, starting with a person to the left of the dealer button. This is not to assume that that person is the small blind, as that person may have folded already. At this point, a 5th and final card is placed face up in the middle of the table by the table dealer. This is considered the river. After the river, a final round of betting happens, starting with the first person to the left of the dealer button. Once the correct amount of money has been put into the pot, the remaining players with the cards will turn over their cards to find out who the winner is. Congratulations! If you have the best winning hand out of all the remaining players, then you win all the money in the pot. On some occasions, players can tie for a pot, which they will split evenly, although this is not common. Once you are ready to leave the poker table, gather up all your chips and take them to the cashier's cage to cash out. If you've sadly lost all your chips from playing, you will have to leave the table. Better luck next time.